My name is Harsh Pradeep Rao Kode, and my project name is Library Rental Tracking Management. Now, this particular project will going to have some of the business outcome. And what was that? This library rental tracking management project will going to help us, the librarian, to manage the all the books and the rentals of the books at the one particular state, so that the librarian got to know that if who brought the book, which type of the book he going to be brought, okay, what his rental date, what his due date. So instead of doing this all this thing manually, the librarian can use this crm as a platform in order to send an email for its due is a date, and going to manage the books and the rental at one place. So now in this particular Mizo project, we are just creating some of the custom objects. So what are that? Let's look into it. So at the very first, we're going to create the first custom object, and that is nothing but the what the is a book. So in this particular custom object, we have a following is a field and relationship like author, book name, copies available, created by ISBN, owner, price, and status. The second object which will go into an is a create, and that is nothing but the what is about the renter. Okay, now this is the second object that we're going to create for our project. In this particular rental is object, we have a certain fields like book, which we have a lookup relationship with an is rental, created, due date, fine amount, notes, owner, rent date, rental name, and etc. And the third object which we create on this particular project is nothing but the what is about the student, that which is a student brought the which type of the book at what rental is a day. So that all information is going to be stored on the student object. So we have a such fields like date of admissions, email of that particular student, membership is id, phone number, student name, and all those etc. Now we're going to is look is here that how exactly our rental management project is going to be and work. So let's go through it. So at the very first, this is our enter is a phase, okay, where the book's name is going to be a present. From that, we're going to just consider one is a book, like we can just say that the Salesforce is a guide, and the name of the student we're going to just consider is about the we can just say that the new student we can just consider like Sheetal. And the next thing we're going to feel up about the rent date, at what date he going to buy the book. So let's consider September 26. And what his due date, that at what exactly day his ending will be there. So like we consider as an 30, and when just going to create it the rental. So this will going to just create an is a rental, which we can see it in the books object. We can just say that key there is one book called as Salesforce guide. Now this Salesforce is a book is going to be bought by this Mrs. Sheetal as an Mrs. student, and in the rental we're going to just see the record of that particular student that we just created, that the rental Mrs. Name, then the book which he got, the student, those who bought that book, its rent date, due date, whether it is going to be status is active or not. Then also when we just look into the book object, there we can just create the one new is a book like the is a moon. We just created the one book, and then author we can just give it the simply name like the uh, Jivika. And the price which we just mentioning here is about like 300 is a dollar. The status we can just fill it out, he is about the rented, and the copies available we can just mention is how that the copies going to be available like this 6, okay. And we just save this particular is record. So here we can say that the new book the moon is going to be a created, and the one student for that particular book will going to just is a create, okay. So the student is name maybe we can just say that like SHUBAM, the Shubham. The email ID we need to just fill it, that SHUBAM 134 Mr. Gmail dot Mr. com. The phone number of that particular student, we can just give it a random number like the 56789. Okay, so that is the 56789. The date of admission we can just choose like today's date, like September 26, and the membership ID we can just give it like 45678 and 9, and just we save this particular record. Now, when we just went onto our rental management is a app page, there we're going to find in the book we have the book which we created, that is the moon. The student we had just created like Shubham. Okay, and the rent is a date. We can just give it like tomorrow's date, that is to September 27, and the due date will be going to consider as an 30. Once this all information figured, we are just going to creating this rental is going to be created. Now this rental is going to be created, and when we just move on to an rentals, there we find the rental. So in this we can say that the book is the student, this rented and due dates, and the status is going to be an is active. Okay, and we can just create the one note also that this uh, the uh, moon book is by uh, by Shubham, the Shubham, and just save it. So in this way, this specific modification we can just do. Now when we just go on to the dashboard, okay, so on that particular dashboard we will going to observe is that we have one dashboard name, that is library rental dashboard. So where we going to find out there is a two thing will be, that is active rentals and new books report. So when we just refresh this particular thing, we will going to observe that the book which we just created like rent the self-force guide the Shital. So from this particular dashboard, the anyone can understand this books is going to be there, this particular books is going to be bought by this particular student here, either some particular due dates is going to be available and all those. Similarly the moon, this we just created the brought by the student called as Shubham, his due date and etc. Similarly when we just refresh this new book measure report, we can just measure find measure that the moon will be there, the Jivika will be there, and copies available is 5. Why the copies available going to be 5? At the time when we just create the measure book, at the time we say that the copies available is going to be 6, but now why it's going to be showing is 5? Because the one book is going to be rented, and this rented will be one book is going to be a rented, and this particular book is rented by this particular student called as Shubha. So this is automatically will going to be a is happen here because of the triggers which we used in our particular is Apex code. Now after learning this, we can just look into the reports. Okay, so here we have a two type of report, that is new book report. Super. So in this particular, we can just see the data of and all the new books we can just have it. So that just we created the moon, the Jivika, this 5 is and is going to be repeated. So this is the report for an is a book. The next again report we can just see about the new active rentals. So we can just see here the active rentals. Okay, these are the active rentals. Okay, the moon, the Shubham. So this is due date will be there. So this is all about the is report. Now at the next is the thing, we can just see about what are the validation rules which we are just going to see on this particular is a custom object which we just created. Now when we just see this book object, in that book object we have a some validation loop is like price must be a positive. Now whenever we see the price, we should give it like 200 or 300, otherwise the book will not going to be a safe. Similarly, if we just see the validation is a rule for the is a rental, we will find is out is that the validation rule for the is a rental will be the due date after rent date, means the due date should be after the rent date, it should not be before the rent date, and require the book and student. If we wanted to create a rental, we should require the two things that is compulsory, that is book and the student, otherwise the rental will not going to be created. Okay, so these are the validation rules we just is mentioning out. The next thing we can just measure see about an schema builder. So from this schema builder we can visually observe the relationship between all the objects. Like we can just select the one objects, like from the here we can just select down custom objects like books, rental and see. So we can just when we just see, so we can just here see that this student and this rental and books, to whom reality is the rentals we connected to the book, the students are getting is connected with the is rental. So this is the visual diagram we can just say from the schema builder. Okay, the again means one more thing we can just means have it. Okay, is all about the users. Okay, like we can say that the profile. So what are the profiles we created for this particular means the projects? Okay, we can just see that these are the following profiles. We can just create it. So for this particular project we created one particular miso profile called as librarian. Okay, and this librarian miso profile will going to have the which type of the assets or which type of the field he can access, which type of the miso objects he can just miso access. Okay, we can just miso see it. Okay, key with type of the objects we can he can just access. So all these particular things we can just just see it here. So let's see that. Yeah, so this particular custom objects permission, so what type of the objects this librarian will going to have, is going to have read, create and edit permission for the book, similarly for the renter, similarly for the students. So these are the particular profiles we just is created. And then we can just also see the view setup audit trial. So through this we can just see that who going to be logging at what time, like Harsh code. So this particular user is going to be logging at this particular time, and these are the action you're going to just perform. So this is all is about the Mizo project, and that's it.